Hey guys, and welcome back to Overland Garage, and I've got something special for you guys today. Today we are going to build, and this is long overdue, an Overland bed rack for my tent. And something I've been wanting to do for a while. Been tossing the idea around, but I've settled it. I can't take the Ranger on this trip because it's just going to be too far, and I've got some other things I need to work on. And I'm excited to show you how to build a DIY Overland bed rack on a budget. So thank you for tuning in. This is Overland Garage. So I wanted to build an Overland bed rack, and I was looking on the internet and I was scrolling through all the different designs, and I just couldn't find something that I was happy with. So I decided, well, heck, I'm just gonna go to the store, and the metal store that is, and I'm gonna buy some metal and design this thing and build it myself. So I went out and I got some steel, and I think I spent close to $300 on steel. And you're going, $300 on steel? Well, yes, the price of steel has gone way through the roof, and but at least it's not $1,100 in like a KB Voodoo or I've even seen DZ or a Weston rack. They're in the $800-900 range still. So I wanted to build a rack on a budget. So I'm going to show you that I've done some preliminary cuts, show you what we're going to be working with here, and then we're just going to get right into it and build this Overland rack. So basically what I've done here for a base is I've used some angle bar, and it's 3/16 inch thick, and I've cut some relief cuts in it for this pocket right here, and this is going to be my base. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to have this bed rack sit on just the bed rails. I want it to have something that's sturdy, that's going to be good to build off of, and that's going to support the weight over what's called a static load and a dynamic load. So sitting and moving, I want this thing to be rigid and not twist and bend. And so we're going to put these on, make sure they're all square. I'm going to do some cleanup around these rough edges because I don't want this jagged edge here, and make this thing kind of more trimmed in here. But we're going to clean this up, and then I'm going to bolt this thing all on square so that we have a good base to start with. So kind of show you what I'm working with, and I will recommend when you're doing this, go buy good cobalt drill bits. This steel is tricky to drill through, and you need good drill bits. But I'll show you what I did real quick. So I got some of the old stainless hardware out, and just laid out all these, center punched them and drilled them, because I don't want this thing to move at all while I'm welding this thing. And as you can see, I used some clamps, some vice grip bodywork clamps to clamp this thing in place while I was drilling the holes, so we get a nice straight hole through this. These are just 3/8 bolts, stainless. Could upgrade to grade 8 at some point, but I do like the stainless for the fact they don't rust. But so I'm gonna tighten all these down temporarily and start building the actual structure of this. And then once I get this thing kind of where I want it, I'm gonna pull this whole thing off, clean it all up, and then weld everything up. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. This is a digital angle finder, and I've got this thing set on zeroed out. And what I'm going to do is to find this cut angle down here, I need to know what this angle is going to be. And I already did this, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing. And so I want 22 degrees of a cut angle. So I get to 22, roughly right there. And you'll see at the bottom there's this angle down here. Well then, now that I had 22 degrees, I already set this up. I took my trusty bevel square and I set it up next to it and got that cut angle. So all I have to do is literally lay this thing on and cut it out at 22 degrees, and this will line up perfectly. So yeah. Hey, so quickly I want to show you what we're going to do here next. And I've cut all these bars at 20 degrees, and I'm going to show you why I did that, because 22 degrees rather. I'm going to show you why I did that, because it's important for the next step of this to show you what's going to happen here. So check this out. So I cut these at 22 degrees exactly, and it's coming up here, and I just tacked this on. I'm gonna break this back off, maybe, but I need to get a measurement from this point to this point. Roughly, I think it's gonna be roughly 18 inches, but this is gonna be a 45-degree angle cut, and that's gonna come to a crossbar all the way over to another bar right here. So I'm gonna tack this one on, and then I can measure this distance from here to here with this, where this bar is going to be in the middle. I think it's going to be roughly 18 inches, and with a 45-degree cut here on the crossbar and on the other bar, and it should come out perfect. And now we're just gonna weld it all together, and you kind of get the idea of what's going on here, but this is what we're gonna weld together. So I did all those cuts, and I ended up having to kind of take this thing back apart. And if you can see up there, there's a seam that I had to make, because I found out that Chevy trucks are wider in the front of the bed than they are in the back of the bed. So you got to take that into consideration. I should have thought about this. I knew this, but sometimes you get busy and you forget about what you're doing. But I just wanted to show you guys that it's a good idea. Well, it's actually imperative that you take good measurements, use the digital angle finder, get your angles right, and I was able to get these all squared up, and I got the middle bracing going on right here. So I'm gonna put some crossbars in here, and then I'll probably put some more of these attaching here, and then everything will back up. So wherever I put one of these, I will have a crossbar up here going across. So all this, when I take this thing off to weld it, will be tied into each other. So I'm gonna throw some scrap steel across the back of this thing so that nothing moves when I take it off. So when you weld this thing, everything will stay in place, and then I can just throw it back on there once it's done and prepped and painted. So I'm gonna probably call it a night on this project. I might work on this a little more, and I'll show you the progress that we got starting in the morning. Good morning, guys. So I did some more welding and some fabricating and some, slicing and dicing of the old bars here, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. There's some air quotes for you, by the way, and show you what I've done, and then kind of talk about where we're going with this. So this is kind of close to the finished product. Now these bars right here are gonna have a plate across them. And so I've got to take this whole thing off the truck So I'm gonna weld some angle bars in here crossways so that I can take this thing off the truck without anything moving, so that all my bolt holes will line back up when I put this thing back on all welded. But this is a really rough version of what it's gonna look like. I mean, I've got to do a lot of grinding, a lot of welding and painting, but this is kind of a rough idea, and then I will show you the next step after I take it off the truck, weld it all up. We'll put those plates on up there, and then do some decorative things, and this will be all done and ready for a rooftop tent. Alright guys, so I got this thing off the truck and I've got it just sitting on the old sawhorses here, but what my plan is to grind all these welds up and clean this whole thing up, and then I'm gonna finish welding this thing completely. And I've got to add a crossbar here and back there, and then weld all that up. So I got a lot of welding to do, and then I can grind this thing all up, paint it, and it will be done. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys that this is kind of the basic idea, and you don't have to go out and buy a $1,100 rack or whatever they cost nowadays. But you can literally go to your closest place that sells steel, and if you know what you're looking for and you have a little bit of skill to do it, you can build something just like this. But I'm gonna get going on the welding and grinding, and we're gonna make this thing look all pretty. Hey guys, it's all dark and scary again, but I'm gonna show you what I've done. I've just finished prepping it. It's like the third or fourth day. I don't even remember anymore. It's been a while. But the reason why I didn't show you every single step of this is because if I did, first of all, you would have watched me like weld for like 30 hours straight, and nobody's got time for that. And second of all, you get the idea. You put some things together, you take some really good measurements, you tack it in, you weld everything in sequence, and then you do a lot of grinding and painting. So this is a pretty simple project. I just wanted to show you guys where I'm at with this, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. But take a look right now where we're at with it. So I've actually got this thing flipped upside down at the moment, and I gotta do some more prepping, but I'm gonna finish prepping this, and then I'm gonna throw a coat of primer, and then we're gonna flip it back over and paint that side, and this will be ready to go on the truck. Now the only thing that I have left to this that I haven't done yet is, like I've talked about before, is I'm gonna put a plate in here just to kind of take up some of that gap so it doesn't look so strange. But that's going to be where I'm going to mount all my equipment to those side panels. But yeah, this is the basic finished product. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this so far. Alright guys, so I got a quick coat of primer on this, and she's looking pretty good. But I'm gonna try to get as much of this painted and then flip it over. And I may try to flip it over first, see if I can get a little more primer on the other side, and then we're gonna try to paint all of this tonight. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this content. I'm gonna take a peek around, swinging this camera around, and show you the finished product in a few seconds here. But I just wanted to say that you can build an overland rack on a budget, and it doesn't require you having to have a lot of highly technical things involved. You need some basic tools, you need some knowledge, and you need some time. So time, energy, and money. But I thank you guys for watching this content, and I hope you guys like and subscribe and become a supporter of the channel, and keep getting out there, because next week, if everything plans out right, and I got a little surprise for you guys, and you're gonna want to see that. But if everything works out, we're gonna be heading up north to the North Main Woods. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching Overland Garage.